Let's be real, cruise problems don't always come from big things. It's the little stuff that can throw off your day. A blister, a headache, or in my husband's case, a broken toe. These tiny issues can ruin your cruise fast, unless you're prepared. That's why I always pack a compact, cruise-ready first aid kit. It's nothing fancy, but it has saved me more times than I can count. I've seen people miss excursions, skip dinners, or even end up in the medical bay over something that could have been handled with a simple bandage or some ibuprofen. One couple I know paid $150 just to talk to the ship's doctor, and that was before any treatment. That's why today, I'm sharing exactly what I pack in my cruise first aid kit. The essentials, the smart extras, and those cruise-specific must-haves that can turn a potential disaster into a total non-issue. If this video helps you out, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. It tells the algorithm that Embrace Today is the go-to channel for smart cruisers, and lets more cruisers like you find these tips. Let's get started. First up, the basics. Start with a compact, travel-size first aid kit. You can buy a pre-made one or make your own. I'll link the one I use below. If you prefer to make your own, start with a small pouch around 4 inches square that can hold everything you need and easily fit in your backpack for shore excursions. If the pouch is waterproof, all the better. I also carry a second pouch for liquids and gels that won't make it through TSA. That way I can toss this in my checked luggage and avoid the hassle with airport security. Your foundation kit should include bandages in various sizes, gauzes and medical tape, antibiotic ointment, and antiseptic wipes. The pre-made kits usually only come with a handful of antiseptic wipes, so I picked up an extra box from CVS. I always make sure to resupply my first aid kit before going on my next cruise. The kit I bought also came with cotton swabs and safety pins, which have come in handy many times. Now, I've supplemented my assortment of Band-Aids with 2 key items that you won't find in a generic kit. First, a small bottle of New Skin. This liquid bandage is amazing for small cuts or blisters, especially if you're snorkeling. Coral is sharp. Saltwater stings? Enough said. Recently, I started packing these large Tegaderm bandages that can stay on for up to 3 days. They're not cheap, over $1 per bandage, but I can honestly say they're worth every penny. A few cruises ago, I was recovering from surgery. I'd been cleared for travel, but my doctor warned me that keeping my incisions clean and dry was key to avoiding infection. My mom, she's a retired nurse, she recommended these and they were a total game changer. They seal tight, stay in place, and don't itch or peel up like regular bandages. Best of all, they are actually waterproof. Next, add in some over-the-counter meds. Pain relievers like Tylenol or Aleve are a must. Between long excursions, sun exposure, and those late-night shows or dance parties, headaches and sore muscles are almost guaranteed. I'm not even going to mention the hangovers. Include antihistamines like Benadryl or hydrocortisone cream. Insect bites, random rashes, or surprise food allergies can all happen on board or in port. You could go to the medical bay, but it's pricey. Better to have it in your kit and avoid the hassle. It's smart to bring a little extra of all of these basic supplies. You might end up being the hero when someone in your group needs help. Okay, let's talk about seasickness. Even if you've cruised before without an issue, seasickness can hit when you least expect it. I always pack some Dramamine just in case. It works best if you start taking it before you feel queasy, but better late than never. If you prefer natural remedies, ginger chews, peppermint tea, or acupressure wristbands can work wonders. Nothing ruins a day at sea like staring at the horizon and wondering if your breakfast is about to come back to visit. You're gonna be outside a lot, so protect that skin. I always pack a full bottle of high SPF sunscreen. My go-to is Blue Lizard. It's a mineral-based sunscreen which makes it reef safe. But what I love most is that it's formulated for babies, so it's much easier to apply than a lot of the other mineral sunscreens. It doesn't feel thick or chalky, which is a big plus. It's too big to fit in my first aid kit, but that's okay. I unpack it right away and keep it out on the vanity counter. That way, it's front and center, so we remember to apply it every time we head out. You might also want to bring lip balm with SPF and a small tube of aloe vera gel, just in case you get sunburnt despite your precautions. Shore excursions come with their own unique problems, namely insects. You probably won't have any trouble with them while you're cruising along, but once you get to port, watch out for mosquitoes, black flies, and gnats. These pests are a problem in both the Caribbean and Alaska, so pack some insect repellent. I skipped DEET and used Sawyer's Picardin-based insect cream. It works surprisingly well, and it is better for your health and the environment. Here's a few more items that I keep in my first aid kit. A digital thermometer. Especially since COVID, people are extra aware of how important it is to know when you are running a fever and how high it is. If it hits 103 degrees, see the ship's doctor, no matter how well stocked your first aid kit is. Tweezers. A small but essential tool. I haven't had to remove any ticks on a cruise yet, but I like to be prepared. An eyeglass kit. Whether you wear prescription glasses or just live in sunglasses, a mini screwdriver and a few spare screws can be a total lifesaver. Electrolytes. Staying hydrated is crucial on a cruise, especially in hot tropical climates. We've been carrying electrolyte packets ever since a month-long trip to Thailand taught us how essential they are. Safety scissors. These are handy for more than just medical tasks. I've used them to open packaging, trim tags, even fix gear mid-excursion. They're technically TSA approved, but I usually pack them in my checked luggage just to avoid any issues. One time, I forgot and left them in my carry-on. It wouldn't have been a big deal, except we were flying out of Santiago, Chile, and I had to use my very limited Spanish to figure out what the security guard was flagging. After awkwardly unpacking my entire bag, I finally found the scissors at the very bottom. He looked at them, smiled, and waved me through. No harm done, but lesson learned. A sewing kit. I'm no seamstress, but I always carry a small spool of thread wrapped around a needle and a few spare buttons. I've saved a pair of pants by replacing a button more than once while traveling. Wet wipes. These are especially useful during shore excursions when hand washing stations might not be nearby. Even though the packaging says they're flushable, do not flush them down your stateroom toilet, unless you want to end up featured in the next episode of our cruise news, and not in a good way. Now, if you take prescription medication, this part's super important. Bring more than you think you'll need, at least 50% extra. Cruises can get delayed, or you might just decide to stay longer. Always keep your meds in your carry-on. You don't have to pack them in the original prescription bottle. Feel free to divide them up into a handy pill dispenser like this one. But do snap a photo of the prescription label in case security asks questions. And one very important note. Don't pack CBD products. Most cruise lines ban them and many countries enforce strict laws. Some passengers have been denied boarding or even banned permanently for bringing CBD gummies. It's just not worth the risk. So, that's it. Your easy, compact, cruise-ready first aid kit. It doesn't take up much space, but it can make a huge difference if something goes wrong at sea or in port. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and best of all, share it with your cruising friends. And let me know in the comments, what's one thing you always pack in your travel first aid kit? If you'd like a first aid kit checklist, head over to our website, embracetoday.com, to get your free copy. And until next time, remember, whether you get a tan that a Brazilian would envy, or you turn so red that you're mistaken for a lobster on formal night, adventure awaits.